Ancient Egypt was the preeminent civilization in the Mediterranean world for almost 30 centuries, from its unification around 3100 BC to its conquest by Alexander the Great in 332 BC, from the Great Pyramids of the Old Kingdom through the military conquests of the New Kingdom. Egypt's majesty has long entranced archaeologists and historians and created a vibrant field of study all its own: Egyptology. The main sources of information about ancient Egypt are the many monuments, objects and artifacts that have been recovered from archaeological sites, covered with hieroglyphs that have only recently been deciphered. The picture that emerges is of a culture with few equals in the beauty of its art, the accomplishment of its architecture, or the richness of its religious traditions. King Menes founded the capital of ancient Egypt at White Walls, later known as Memphis, in the north, near the apex of the Nile River Delta. The capital would grow into a great metropolis that dominated Egyptian society during the Old Kingdom period. The Archaic period saw the development of the foundations of Egyptian society, including the all-important ideology of kinship. To the ancient Egyptians, the king was a godlike being, closely identified with the all-powerful god Horus. The earliest known hieroglyphic writing also dates to this period. During the rule of Akhenaten, his wife Nefertiti played an important political and religious role in the monotheistic cult of the sun god Aten. Images and sculptures of Nefertiti depict her famous beauty and role as a living goddess of fertility. Neolithic Late Stone Age communities in northeastern Africa exchanged hunting for agriculture and made early advances that paved the way for the later development of Egyptian arts and crafts, technology, politics and religion, including a great reverence for the dead and possibly a belief in life after death. The Old Kingdom began with the third dynasty of Pharaohs. Around 2630 BC, the third dynasty's King Djoser asked Imhotep, an architect, priest and healer, to design a funerary monument for him. The result was the world's first major stone building, the Step Pyramid at Saqqara near Memphis. Egyptian pyramid building reached its zenith with the construction of the Great Pyramid at Giza, on the outskirts of Cairo, built for Khufu or Cheops in Greek, who ruled from 2589 to 2566 BC. The pyramid was later named by classical historians as one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world. The ancient Greek historian Herodotus estimated that it took 100,000 men 20 years to build it. 2 other pyramids were built at Giza for Khufu's successors, Khifra to 558 to 532 BC and Menkaure to 532 to 503 BC. After the last ruler of the 11th dynasty, Mentuhotep IV, was assassinated, the throne passed to his vizier, or chief minister, who became King Amenemhet I. Founder of Dynasty 12, a new capital was established at Iktoe, south of Memphis, while Thebes remained a great religious center. During the Middle Kingdom, Egypt once again flourished, as it had during the Old Kingdom. The 12th dynasty kings ensured the smooth succession of their line by making each successor co-regent, a custom that began with Amenemhet I. Middle Kingdom Egypt pursued an aggressive foreign policy, colonizing Nubia with its rich supply of gold, ebony, ivory and other resources, and repelling the Bedouins who had infiltrated Egypt during the First Intermediate Period. The kingdom also built diplomatic and trade relations with Syria, Palestine and other countries, undertook building projects including military fortresses and mining quarries, and returned to pyramid building in the tradition of the Old Kingdom. The Middle Kingdom reached its peak under Amenemhet III 1842 to 1797 BC. Its decline began under Amenemhet IV 1798 to 1790 BC and continued under his sister and regent, Queen Sobonferu 1789 to 1786 BC, who was the first confirmed female ruler of Egypt and the last ruler of the 12th dynasty. Around 1650 BC, a line of foreign rulers known as the Hyksos took advantage of Egypt's instability to take control. The Hyksos rulers of the 15th dynasty adopted and continued many of the existing Egyptian traditions in government as well as culture. They ruled concurrently with the line of native Theban rulers of the 17th dynasty, who retained control over most of southern Egypt despite having to pay taxes to the Hyksos. The 16th dynasty is variously believed to be Theban or Hyksos rulers. Conflict eventually flared between the two groups, and the Thebans launched a war against the Hyksos around 1570 BC, driving them out of Egypt. In the mid-4th century BC, the Persians again attacked Egypt, reviving their empire under Artaxerxes III in 343 BC. Barely a decade later, in 332 BC, Alexander the Great of Macedonia defeated the armies of the Persian Empire and conquered Egypt. After Alexander's death, Egypt was ruled by a line of Macedonian kings, beginning with Alexander's general Ptolemy and continuing with his descendants. The last ruler of Ptolemaic Egypt, the legendary Cleopatra VII, surrendered Egypt to the armies of Octavian, later Augustus, in 31 BC. 6 centuries of Roman rule followed, during which Christianity became the official religion of Rome and the Roman Empire's provinces, including Egypt. The conquest of Egypt by the Arabs in the 7th century AD and the introduction of Islam would do away with the last outward aspects of ancient Egyptian culture and propel the country towards its modern incarnation. Thank you for watching.